Hi, I'm Tom Loucks, Wisconsin Rapids Community Media Coordinator here for the City of Wisconsin Rapids. And this is our Town of Grand Rapids show. And today I have two guests, Mel Peterson, he's the Chief of Police, and Arnie Nystrom, our Board Chairman. And we're going to learn a lot about the Police Department, what's going on. But first, I'm going to turn it over to Arnie, and we're going to talk about tax collecting hours. That's the time of the year. So again, thanks for joining us here on Wisconsin Rapids Community Media. So
Thank you very much, Tom, and it's great to be here again. This is the second one we've done with you. Appreciate the time that you're giving us. It's kind of hard to talk about taxes. People don't really like to talk about it, but and I'm not certain why we have to collect them this time of the year. But first off, the tax payment bills went out. They're in people's hands on Saturday. They should have been. We've started collecting already. The first installment is due by January 31st of 2018 in the Grand Rapids office. However, if you wish to pay your taxes so that you get tax credit for this year, not knowing what the government's going to do to us next year, they would need to be paid to us by December 29th. Also, the property taxes, and special assessments, those are for like businesses, whatever, those also need to be paid by the 31st of January. After that, any payments go directly to Wood County. Our office is accepting payments Monday through Thursday, 8 a.m. till 1 p.m. The treasurer takes her lunch break and then continues at 2 o'clock to 4:30. Fridays, we only work half a day at the office, so it's 8 a.m. till noon, the collections. Now, if people want to drop it off to us after hours, we have a secured drop box at the entrance of our building. So that's the tax information. There's a couple other things I would like to touch base on. One is everybody asks, when are you going to pick up the Christmas trees? We'll do that for 2 weeks, starting the week of January 8th and ending the week of January 16th. All those are trucks will go around the route several times so that hopefully we get all the trees picked up and properly disposed of. They'll be chipped and used for wood chips, as the town has a pile of chipped bark that we give away free to residents. We'll just keep adding to that pile.
all right. So do they just put it anywhere on the curb?
Edge of the road in the snowbank, we'd prefer.
Okay.
If you took it out in a plastic bag, please take it out of that bag. We just want plain trees because we're going to chip it.
All righty. And you want to talk a little bit about any snow plowing policies, since it's the time of
Yes.
year and we are finally getting some snow?
Yeah, the town's policy is related to the types of roads we have. We have 37 miles of what we call primary roads. Those are mainly what we also call it a collector road. Maybe the road that comes by the subdivision and you have the other roads off of it. Those are considered the collector roads. And those get our first attention. We'll go out basically anytime there's a half an inch to an inch on that. We're out there primarily doing some sanding or salt sanding on the stop signs areas, and trying to protect the surface so that we can avoid crashes. When it gets to be a snowfall of 3 inches or more, then we will do those primary roads first, or sometimes even twice, and then go out and do the complete subdivision. The primary is done with just 3 of our trucks, and that would be our 3 main crew people that we have. When we do the complete plowing, we have 3 more part-time people. These are experienced people that can run end loaders and that type of stuff, and they will do the rest of the subdivisions with 6 vehicles on. So we typically, on a normal snowstorm, can get it done in approximately an 8-hour to 9-hour period of doing the plowing. We used to take about 13 hours, but we added 2 more vehicles and another part-timer, which kind of makes it a lot quicker for us. The equipment that we buy now is more efficient. Our new trucks have scraper blades on the bottom of them, so that we can also, if we start to get ice accumulation, can put down pressure on a blade, and it kind of helps get that off the road. Just normal salt sand. We do not like to put any more salt on our road than we absolutely have to. Believe it or not, salt does cost us about $70 a ton. So every time we put a little out there, it's another expense to the town. We prefer to use salt sand when we can, which is only about a 30% mix of salt with the sand. However, some conditions require us to do the full salt, and we will then.
Yeah, it's not the greatest on our vehicles, but you also do not want to go in a ditch or have an accident or a crash, and then it will go to Mel and his team.
Yeah, he seems to get the effects of bad roads.
Yeah.
And it's never in a good time when it happens. It's always in the middle of a blizzard. Somebody, we hardly have blizzards anymore, but heavy snowfalls. He gets the effect of it.
Yeah, but I think we're about due. These little 1-inch storms all of a sudden. So, all right, Arnie, anything else that you want to mention?
No, I think that pretty well covered the topics I wanted to touch.
Great.
Wanted to give enough time to the chief. He's got a full boat there.
All right.
Hope that we can get through it. If we don't, we'll come back again.
Yeah, we'll come back. And all right, Mel, thanks for coming. I appreciate it. And
Thank you.
I will let you go from your list, and we can kind of chat back and forth if needed. I got some questions, but
Okay.
Let's hear about what's happening on your department and what you have to talk about for our public.
Sure. I've been, in January, I'll be starting my 5th year as the chief of police for the town of Grand Rapids. Coming on board back in January of 2014, we've tried to maintain a 24/7 schedule for police coverage for the town of Grand Rapids. Our schedule does reflect that we do have 24/7 coverage. There have been a small handful of times where, because of personnel shortages and things like that we haven't haven't had an officer on duty, but it hasn't been for a full shift, a few hours here and there. So we try to maintain a 24/7 police department. As far as personnel, beside myself, I have 5 full-time officers. That's the bulk of our scheduling. And then right now we have on board 3 part-time officers that are able to fill in when our full-time officers have vacation or sick leave or time off. We rely very heavily on those part-time officers, and they're an integral part of our department. And so we rely on them very heavily to fill those open shifts. As far as squad cars are concerned, we do have 5 patrol vehicles. They're all marked, and as Town of Grand Rapids patrol vehicles. 2 of them are the Ford Explorer 4-wheel drive, or all-wheel drive, I guess you should say, vehicles. Those are our 2 newest ones, and then we have 3 Dodge Chargers that are rear-wheel drive only, and we're able to use those as for patrol even during the winter months. So if the weather really does get bad, then we can always, those officers can always switch to one of the all-wheel drive Ford Explorers, and we're able to have the safe patrol.
Well, you guys have a lot of technology in those vehicles, state of the art. Print tickets there, talk 4G or to your computer. Is that correct?
Right. Yeah, we have. It's pretty much a mobile office as far as laptop with printer, and we recently went to a Wi-Fi hotspots, which gives us better reception for internet connections and connections to all the systems that we got going on through those mobile laptops. So compared to when I started 40-some years ago, they're trying to put even more stuff in there, and eventually we're going to run out of room. But it is getting pretty crowded in the squad cars now, and but it's all technology. That the bottom line is officer safety. I think it promotes officer safety for officers out there on the street. So especially for us, when a majority of the day we only have one officer on, and we rely on that technology and also our surrounding law enforcement partners to have a safe
Yeah, if you need
shift.
backup, you're able to get the county out right away, and then I'm sure, I suppose you have some agreement with Rapids if it was something really
Right.
necessary.
It's, we rely heavily for backup, like I said, Wood County Sheriff's Department, also the Wisconsin Rapids Police Department, and there's been times even Port Edwards and Nakusa, that's one thing in the 4 years that I've been here. It's really nice to see the working relationship that all our departments have. Everybody's always willing to help out when needed and offer up assistance and some things that we might not have on our department, whether it be the county or the city or any of the other jurisdictions, that working relationship is probably the best it's been for a while. So I'm
That's
happy.
great.
Yeah,
Yeah, because, little kids, everybody looks up to you guys.
exactly.
So it's really important.
So-
Well, you have a lot of services here, home protections. I'll have you kind of list those and
Sure.
talk about them if you like.
Yeah. We do, along with our normal, crime fighting services, there's some other crime prevention type services that we provide, home protections, business protections. The home protections is a real simple process to get signed up for. If you're going to be out of town for any amount of time, whether it's maybe a weekend or for longer weeks or months at a time, if for people that go south for the winter or whatever, we have home protections, and they can actually go to our town website under community and general forms, and there's a home protection request form on there that they can fill out and drop off at our department, and that way, well, they're out of town, we can, as much as possible and as the calls for service allow, we'll try to check on their homes
Sure.
to make sure that, just to let everybody know out there that it's being checked on and hopefully prevent somebody from,
Right.
trying to.
Is there any cost to the individual, or is that part of your service?
That's part of our service. There is no cost to that. And like I said, we do the same for the business protections. There's not a form for that, and we try to, check our businesses at night as much as possible and make sure that there isn't any activity going on around these businesses. If these businesses were to shut down for a while, they could fill out a home protection, obviously, and get it to us, and we could check that as well. It'd be just under home protection form. So,
Occasionally we do find a business that forgets to lock their doors. And matter of fact, even the town of Grand Rapids, we found that once, that we forgot to lock the doors after a meeting. So, I mean, it's
it
appreciative that.
happens.
It
Yeah.
does. I think that happened in my own business back
Yeah.
hometown. They call you actually and say your door is wide open.
Mhm.
Ah.
Yeah.
But
So-
yeah, I sometimes just get out of the squad car and check them, right? Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
So.
So that's a great service, and people should use it, and just go to the internet and fill it out. Or can they come into the town hall
They
as
can
well?
do both.
They can do both, yep.
Okay.
They can, like I said, print the form out, fill it out, and bring it in and drop it off, or we have forms at their municipal building that they can fill out there, so.
Right, because the PD is right in the same building. It's all connected, right?
Right.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
So.
What is an internet exchange location?
About a year ago, I
Yeah.
guess it was, or we were contacted, and I think everybody's aware out there of all the different frauds and scams that are going on these different Craigslist, you name it, all the
Buyer
different
lists, yeah.
yeah,
Mhm.
exchanges where people put things for sale, and what we've done at our municipal building is in the front of our building, where we actually have cameras that are constantly running and videotaping. we've designated one of the parking stalls in front of the building that is in view of the camera as an internet exchange location. What people can do is if they're having this sale or buying something over the internet, instead of the buyer coming to the seller's house, place of residence, and knowing where they live and things like that, what they can do is they can set up to do that exchange, that sale, at kind of a neutral location that, in our case, has video
Oh, wow.
surveillance, I guess, for lack of a better word, but it's
Yeah.
being monitored by our video system. So they can come and do that, like I said, that internet exchange in the front of our building, and the seller can feel safe and secure that that buyer is not coming to his residence. And then, of course, the buyer, it's safe for them because they know that it's being taped, and that maybe the seller is kind of trying to pull a scam on them, and
And the
take
other
their
thing
money.
about it, it is a well-lit area. We have lights in front of the garage doors, plus we have the street lighting that faces our building, and so it is
Okay.
Yeah.
a lit area, so it's not a dark area at night. Obviously, we don't want people exchanging things at 10 o'clock, 12 o'clock at night here,
Okay.
but now that it gets dark at 4:30, you know,
Still could get
you can
that.
still-
right.
So describing where that is it marked on a parking stall, or is
Yeah.
it,
Yeah.
you can actually see a sign?
There's a sign.
Okay.
It's on the front of the building, the main entrance there, which would be on the east side of the building for our public entrance side, and the stall, I think, is the last one on the south end of the parking areas at the front of the building on the east side of the building there. So.
Yeah.
So
Great,
that's-
great idea. I really never heard of that.
Right.
Maybe Rapids should have that. I don't. Maybe they do, and I don't know.
Well,
but
I've watched some of those exchanges, and I see them down in the Shopko parking lot or the
Oh, yeah.
Walmart parking lot, and this is a much more secure
yeah,
place for
I
them.
did it at
Yeah.
the Quick Trip the other day. We got something off Craigslist,
Mm-hmm.
and you're trying to describe them in a yellow vehicle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right,
great.
right.
And anybody can use it, right? You're okay.
Anybody
with that?
can-
Any
yeah,
from,
anybody
Rapids
can use
people
it.
Want to
Exactly.
feel more comfortable? They don't know about it. Go over there. So,
Exactly.
all right. You got a drug take back initiatives that you're
Right.
working on as well.
Yeah, the Grand Rapids Police Department participates in all the Wisconsin Department of Justice prescription take-back initiatives that are held basically twice a year in Wisconsin. There's usually one in the spring, April timeframe, and then we usually have one in the fall in October. And the Grand Rapids Police Department participates in those take-back events. We don't have an actual take-back event on the day that it happens. It's usually on a Saturday. But what we do have is we have a prescription drug drop box in our municipal building where residents can come in, drop their unused medications or unwanted medications, expired, or whatever the case is. They can bring those in and put them in that drop box, and then, like I said, twice a year, then we turn those in and they're properly disposed of. It does a couple things. It prevents those unwanted medications from getting onto the street and possibly being abused by people that have some type of drug addiction. And it also keeps them out of our water supply, typically being flushed down the toilet,
Wow.
and then they end up in our groundwater. So it does two things: keeps them off the street and out of the water. Just the last one we had, I believe it was in October, Grand Rapids. We collected 98 pounds of these unwanted and unused medications, pills.
That's a lot.
No, that's
And-
just the pills, the bottles that where they're open and it's disposed of
Oh.
into bags, so it's
Right.
just the pills.
Right.
Wow, it's
Yeah.
not the case it's in.
No, that's just pills. And those 98 pounds were collected since the previous take-back event, which was in April.
Okay.
Okay, so between April and October, 98 pounds. Just to give some other quick facts here, Wood County took in a total of 1,349 pounds. The state of Wisconsin was at 63,941 pounds. And nationally, we were at 912,305 pounds of unwanted and unused medications. So these, it's a nationwide event when this happens, and it's pretty astounding what some of those numbers are once you start looking at it. So
Almost definitely.
So
Yeah, it's a great program, and all they need to do is take it there, and it's
Right.
confidential, right?
right.
Nobody's
They
gonna see names. And
No.
they just come in, drop it off, and
It's,
that's
you know,
all
it's
it
like
is.
your bank depositories where you
Yeah.
stick something in, close things down, nobody else can
Yeah.
dig through there.
Right. But
Only
it's
they
all
have the
done by
keys.
PD
Yep.
Right,
officers. It's not by
Right.
anybody. in any-
Exactly.
exactly.
So, and then it's just disposed of properly and gone, so.
Yeah.
All right. Well, traffic is also another big part of what you do.
Yeah.
You're out there on the streets. Let's talk about any of those pieces that you have.
Sure. Traffic is still one of our, I would say, most common calls for service that we get. Different driving habits that are reported to us, and so we try to be out there on patrol, visible to kind of curb some of this driving habits that some people have. But overall, we still get a lot of complaints. A lot of it's speed and stop sign violation, things like that. So that's a big priority for us. If we're not out doing other calls for service, have my officers out there doing traffic. So just to give some idea, the Grand Rapids and town of Saratoga, we have our own municipal court. And to give you some idea what last year in 2016, the Grand Rapids Municipal Court collected just over $50,000 worth of fines. And as of the end of November for this year, we've already surpassed that total. We're just over 55,000, and obviously we have one more month to go yet in the month of December. So we do, place a priority, I guess, on traffic enforcement. We want to try to keep everybody safe out there, and we know where our problem areas are, and so we try to concentrate on them. But again, we want to make sure everybody's safe, and it doesn't take much. One erratic driver and can ruin a lot of people's, a lot of lives. So we try to stay on top of that. We also participate in all the initiatives out there that are sponsored by Wisconsin DOJ or DOJ, Wisconsin Department of Transportation, DOT. We always participate in their annual Click It and Ticket initiatives. This last year it ran May 22nd through June 4th. And today we're kicking off another one of those initiatives. That's the Drive Sober, Get Pulled Over initiative. That starts today and runs through the end of the year, or first of the year, January 1st, 2018. Again, those initiatives, the one that we're currently starting today, it discourages impaired driving over the holiday period. And again, these are nationwide efforts that are designed to save lives and prevent injuries. The bottom line is not to the issuing of the tickets or collecting fines, things like that. We just want to encourage voluntary compliance with traffic laws. It keeps everybody safe. Sometimes it may take a citation to do that. Sometimes a warning, a written warning. Sometimes maybe even a verbal warning. Just, it's, my officers use their discretion on best, how they feel that can best curb this type of driving behavior, but that may not be the safest going out there. So that's the bottom line. We want to make sure we keep everybody safe and everybody gets home, especially during the holiday season now, which also brings us to the winter driving conditions.
Right.
We want to make sure that people got to get their winter legs under them again, driving on slippery and snowy roads, and we want to make sure that they're doing it safely. Some tips, getting back to Arnie's snow plowing thing, when you see a snow plow or our town crew out there, or any crew when you're out even on the county road, if you see a snow plow, give them plenty of time and plenty of space so that they can do their job. They're out there trying to make that road as safe as possible, and if you get a driver out there that's impatient and wants to get around them or is trying to do something, usually it doesn't end up well. So make sure that you give the crews that are out there trying to clear our roads plenty of room and courtesy so that they can do their job. As far as your vehicles, it's not a bad idea to keep a small emergency kit in there, maybe some water, snack bars or something like that. Make sure your battery's working and charged and working properly. Cold weather, you'll find out in a real hurry if you got a bad battery or not. Try to keep your gas tank above half full or half empty so that you don't have any gas line freeze-ups, things like that. And make sure you're dressed appropriately for the weather. Nothing worse than somebody in shorts and tennis shoes and in a t-shirt on and driving. They're just going to run down, then they end up in a snowbank, and next thing you know, now it's going to become real uncomfortable for them real quick if they're not dressed appropriately for the weather.
Yeah, real trouble.
Yeah.
So just simple plan ahead and be ready for winter because it's here now. And
Exactly.
I've already had some drivers that are driving erratically in the last snow. It always is. They're in a hurry, but need to slow down a bit, and especially 54. That it's a fast road, and there's some spots I think that in your jurisdiction that are 50 miles an hour.
Exactly right.
You don't need to be doing 65.
No.
And we see it, and I'm sure you
Exactly.
do too. And just all it is not about issuing tickets, just safety of the others and everybody else.
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely.
Alrighty, well, we got a few more minutes here left, and let's talk a little bit about social media and how you get the word out to the public.
Yeah. We get a lot of questions all the time about ordinances and forms and things like that. And I just want everybody to be aware that our Grand Rapids Police Department is on our town website, okay? They can go to the town website, and under departments, they'll find the police department's information, email addresses, contact numbers, things like that. A lot of the forms that are out there for the public to use, good one is like getting back to the home protections. Those are all online. If they go under the community tab, and they'll find forms there for that can be downloaded and filled out and then brought in or whatever. Another thing that I think people don't really realize is our ordinances are posted on our website. We get a lot of questions about ordinances, and we're more than happy to answer them, obviously, but I think if the people knew those ordinances were out there, they could actually go there and read them for themselves, and they're just written in plain language. Obviously they're put together and reviewed by an attorney, but they're not written as such where, most people can understand them, and it's pretty easy reading as far as understanding them. So they can go there, and then if they still have questions, they can come to us or call us, and we can try to elaborate on that. And then, of course, we have the Grand Rapids Police Department Facebook page that people can contact us or like us through there. I'm not a real, like I said, my computer skills aren't all that great, but I have people in the department that do have those skills, and they help maintain that Facebook page and keep it up to date. And all these, getting back to like the Department of Transportation initiatives and the drug take-back events, we post those all on our Facebook page so people know when it's happening and can get more information there.
All right. All they have to do is like the page and get a lot of information that way as well on
Exactly.
Facebook. So,
Yeah.
and I know, Arnie, you're a big user of Facebook as well. And that's
Oh,
good.
yes, we,
Yeah. So I think it's great and it helps, but we try to get the information out as well here on many platforms.
I like to let the people know when we're going to plow snow. So we got a bunch of followers, and I see it shared, and it goes all over. It's quick information.
Yeah, and it's basically free in a way,
Yep.
so that's great. Well, I'm probably gonna go over time, but that's okay. I want to get over into your auxiliary police. I
Okay.
don't want to miss that.
Yeah, right. We do have a Grand Rapids Auxiliary Police. They're also a very big part of our department. It's a volunteer organization, and what we're looking for is members of the community that are willing to come in. And primarily what they're done is they actually in uniform. They're not armed or don't have arrest authority, but what they do is they help us out, particularly during the summer months, for all the events that are held in the town of Grand Rapids. A lot of it will do with crowd control or traffic control, just having a uniform presence out there for events that maybe are held on our town roads. They will help to make sure they keep the participants safe and keep the traffic slowed down when we're having these events. So we're always looking for new members. Again, it's a volunteer type organization, and I think everybody thinks that we're looking for younger adults that are able to come out there. But we'd be more than happy to any town resident, regardless of age, can come out and participate and just be out in the community and see what goes on at these events, and is able to interact then with the community. Right now we've got going, our Helping Hands initiative is going on. This is sponsored by our Grand Rapids Auxiliary, and what we do is we identify some families in the town that may be less fortunate, and through the auxiliary we're able to provide them with some basic food items and toys for the kids that may not be able to have such a happy holiday season. So we've been doing this for many years, and we'll be doing it again this year for the make sure to help out some of these families that are less fortunate and get them to have a happy holiday.
You bet. Well, let's talk about the last piece that you have, Crime Stoppers.
Crime Stoppers is for Southwood County is still a big, I'd like to see, I think, more participation. I just want people out there to know that they can contact the Wood County Crime Stoppers if they know something about a crime that's been committed, not just the town of Grand Rapids, but anywhere in Wood County. They can do it anonymously. They can do it by email. They can do it by text. They can do it by phone call. Just about any ways of communication out there, there's a way to do it, and that can be found at Wood County Crime Stoppers. And take advantage of it. It can be done anonymously, and depending on the tip and the circumstances, that could make them eligible for different rewards of different amounts. So encourage everybody to participate in that, and keep all our communities a little bit safer.
Definitely.
I served on the board of directors for Wood County Crime Stoppers for about 6 years. It was a very rewarding and, to me, an eye-opening experience. Funding was pretty difficult when we first started out. but we've been able to tie into some music events. More recently, once a year, that goes out at the PAC Center, which is sustaining all the funds that we need. And so it's basically a self-supporting initiative. We get a lot of payments that go through there. I know Mel is sitting on as one of the officers. He also sits on some of the Crime Stopper meetings, so it's very worthwhile, and it's very rewarding to see crime solved.
Oh, definitely.
Exactly.
And great programs. So.
Yeah.
Well, I want to thank you guys both for coming by this month and your guest coming along. And come January, that'll be around the corner. We'll have another guest, and we'll see who that is. And everyone can stay tuned. And I think we've went through a lot of great stuff here and a lot of good information. And I want to, like I say, thanks for coming. And I'm sure the people that are watching appreciate this. We'll get this on our Facebook page. You're welcome to share it wherever you want as well.
And I have.
All right. More people can see it, the better information we can get out.
Okay.
We want everybody to be safe this holiday season, and we're taping this here just on the 15th of December, I believe. So, all righty. Well, we're probably out of time. I gotta thank you guys for watching us on Wisconsin Rapids Community Media. This is a new show for the town of Grand Rapids. We still haven't come up with a name, but we'll come up with one shortly.
I got some ideas.
All right. So again, I want to thanks for watching, and tune in monthly. And we'll have another guest coming up next month in January, and we'll let you know who that is. So again, talk to you later, and have a good holiday.